Welcome to the Elite BSC podcast, where our entire focus is helping commercial janitorial contractors succeed. You want a growing company, a thriving team, and healthy profits, and we are here to help. My name is Jordan Tong. I'm the founder of Elite BSC, a company dedicated to helping janitorial companies grow and thrive. I also serve as CEO and one of the owners of France Building Services. France is a janitorial company employing nearly 600 people. Since 2007, we grew from 1.5 million to more than 20 million in annual revenue and built what I think is one of the best teams in the world. The goal of Elite BSC and this podcast is to give owners in the industry a vision of where their company can be and the information and tools to get there. I want to share what I have learned over the years to make this a reality for you. Hey, cleaning contractors, it's Jordan Tong here, your host. I ask this. I say I don't ask this a lot. I do ask it a lot. I would love a like and subscribe and maybe even a comment or review on the podcast would be awesome. Would appreciate that. So it helps the rankings and, all that good stuff. So today we are going to talk about how to compensate sales reps in our industry. And before I dive into this, I'll tell you a little bit of a story that happened a few years ago. So we're putting on a sales workshop, and in the first 2 or 3 times we did a live sales workshop, we had a component in there towards the end that was about compensating your sales reps and like how to build and put together a compensation structure that made sense and that sort of thing. And my primary audience at these workshops was owners, but knowing there was some people in sales that were there. And so I warned the people that were there that were in sales to not use what I said as ammunition against whoever their boss was. And so I had 2 people that were from a company that were working in sales at that company. And so I give the spiel about compensation and my thoughts on it and how that should look. And a few days later, the owner of that company calls me, fires off an email at me. And he was very frustrated because they came back and were like, hey, these other people are paying their salespeople in a lot different way and in a lot better way. And he didn't like that so much. So I tried to reassure him that I was definitely on his team, and I told them not to do that. But anyway, I think sales compensation is important in terms of how you do it, how you set it up, and how you structure it. Compensation plans should ultimately drive the kind of behavior that you're looking for, ideally. And sales is a unique one because the thing that makes sales valuable is their ability to go out and get new business. Now, when I talk about sales too, in our industry, sales is exclusively, I think, outside sales. So, a lot of sales reps for companies they're called sales reps, but essentially what they have is a book of business or customers, and they are reselling to those customers on an ongoing basis. Whatever, you can think of a whole host of different types of things. Let's say somebody sells, let's say Grainger, who sells like industrial supplies and tools and all that kind of stuff. Well, their sales reps are just going to be selling on an ongoing basis to the same customers over and over and over. In our industry, there's a bit more of a sharp divide between sales and operations, and that sales goes out and gets new business, and then operations executes on that new business and serves the customers and maintains the relationship and that sort of thing. So sales, I think, is best done when operations people focus on operations. Sales goes out to find new business. They nurture and land the new business, and then they're involved in the handoff over the next few months, and then they slowly back away. and they focus on other things, because the value ultimately of the salesperson is not in maintaining the contracts, but in going out and getting new contracts. So maybe with that out of the way, here is what I think is a good way to think about setting up a commission structure and a sales comp structure. So I do think that there needs to be a base salary component. And again, any numbers that I give are going to be completely different market to market, and they may change over the years. But you run with any sales where someone's going to be, have incentive for landing new accounts. You're going to run the risk of either setting a too low of a base salary or too high of a base salary. So we want our base salary to be enough that it provides a level of security for the salesperson that if something happens, if things dry up, they're not being forced out of their home. So we want there to be some level of a foundation there that's like, okay, this is pretty good. Like that's a good start. Because, particularly in the early parts of selling, like and maybe you'd want to include a ramp up period, but it's going to be difficult to sell right away if somebody's coming in new or coming in fresh. So, this base salary, as I think back over the last few years, it's obviously changed, but I'm probably thinking somewhere, and again, this is depending on the size of the company you are, but probably somewhere in the $45,000 to $65,000 a year plus benefits is the base salary range for somebody doing sales. Obviously, I think a case could be made for somebody making more than that or less than that, depending on the size of the company, and just what stage you're in. So I think, there's a handful of factors that maybe could affect that. But you get the idea that the base salary should be strong, but also I don't want the person to feel settled with it. Like I want them to be hungry for more. So the next component, and this is where the hunger piece comes in, is that they get commission on new sales. Now, one of the things that I stress when I do these workshops and we talk about compensation is that you want to make sure to only incentivize the kinds of accounts that you want. So you do not want to be incentivizing, if you're not wanting one-time projects, or if you're not wanting your salesperson to focus on one-time projects or post-construction cleans or whatever, then you don't want to pay commission for them. So I remember there was a time early on in our company where we were paying commission for any and everything, essentially. And the downside to that is that the salesperson naturally, and not because of any fault of their own really, is going to gravitate towards the stuff that's easiest to sell. And that's often going to be one-time jobs, like little one-hitters. And if we're paying commission on those, like it's in their best interest. And we're honestly sending the signal that, hey, go after this stuff. And so we ended up switching to like, hey, we only are going to pay commission on contract work that is at least, you put X amount of dollars. So if you sell for us now it's like $5,000 or $6,000, maybe even a bit more. So if you come in and sell a $1,000 account, like there's no commission with that because we don't want it. And so that's helpful. And what I want us to do with commission is I want to really narrow the scope of what I'm going to pay commission on, so it's only the stuff that I want. However, so we can say that's in the company's best interest. However, I want to pay really well for the stuff that gets sold because I know it's good stuff. So I want to disincentivize all the things that I don't want, and I want to heavily incentivize the things that I do want. Because I think in the long run that pays off for the organization. So the way we have done that in the past is we have paid a multiple of the budgeted monthly profit on an account. So for instance, if a salesperson for us sold a $10,000 a month job, And that job was, we were anticipating based on the budget, and we're always pretty close. We usually undershoot it. We always end up doing a bit better. But let's say the projected budget on that account was $3,000 a month. Then we are going to pay a multiple of that as compensation. And for us, it's usually 2 or 2.5 times is what we had done. So you could do less, you could do a little bit more or whatever. But so for that, let's say it's 2 times. That means it would be a $6,000 commission. Now, what we do that's maybe a little bit unique is that we pay that commission out over the course of 6 months, and we don't give the first commission check until we get our first check from the customer. So this helps with cash flow and that sort of thing. And really what this is going to do for you is it's going to drive the kinds of behavior you want, like in terms of getting the right kinds of accounts. And you are going to pay big, but your sales guy is going to be incentivized to do the right things, to land the account, and then because of that 6-month waiting period to get all the payout on the commission, they're going to be incentivized to be involved to make sure that the startup is successful and that it's set up for a good long-term relationship. So it checks lots of boxes in terms of what the company is looking for. Like the company wants certain kinds of accounts. The company wants that startup to go well. The company wants a long-term relationship. And insofar as the salesperson is accomplishing those things, we want to pay them really well. Now you think about it, on a big job, like let's say that profit gets, moves up to something in the $10,000 a month range. Well, man, then that commission check starts to, bump north of $20,000, which is very handsome in terms of a number. And but I remember early on when we paid a couple of really big ones, I thought, geesh, are we overpaying? Like, are we paying too much? And some people would say yes. But in reality, because they were the right kinds of accounts, it has benefited us significantly in the long run. It's been good for the company. And to be quite honest, it's really cool to see someone land a really big commission. And really what that means when you land a big account and there's a big commission payout, that it just takes a little bit of time to pay that out, which means you're not going to make nearly as much profit for the first few months. So ideally the way it's structured is you will make some profit in months, at least months 2 through 6. But then the profit will return to what its stable rate will be after that 6-month period when the commission is completely paid out. So, in addition to those things, we want to make sure just that our salespeople have the resources they need. So whatever tools and, CRMs and all that stuff, we would make sure to outfit them with a company vehicle and give them benefits. And our tendency is to want to offer a decent amount of flexibility if you're performing. And that's sort of the better you perform, the more rope that you're going to get with in terms of being flexible. So the last thing that I would recommend is, I think I would recommend having not only like a position profile or a job description, but really outlining this commission structure so that it's something on paper that everybody agrees upon, all the way down to the particulars about the kinds of accounts and what you're going to pay for and what you're not going to pay for. And maybe what happens if the salesperson quits or leaves or is fired. What about the commission then? Just work out some of those details and get it in writing and get it signed. And I think that will prevent some potential, headaches that may present themselves. So I hope this is helpful. I can't tell you, like, when you get the right person and the right commission structure, it's awesome. And you can see some big results. If there's ever anything that I can do to help you with that, help you craft something like that, feel free to reach out to me, jordan@elitebsc.com. And we will see you on the next episode. If you found the information in this podcast helpful, please like and subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you're using. If you would like more resources or help to grow your cleaning company, head over to elitebsc.com. We have loads of articles, videos, free tools, coaching options, and a lot more. If your company is greater than $500K in revenue and you want to take your learning experience to the next level, check out our mastermind group. You can learn more about that at elitebsc.com/mastermind.